All right, next up we have Mark Stryzek from Tietto Minerals. Mark has more than 20 years of experience in gold exploration, resource development and operations of open pit and underground projects across the Eastern Goldfields and West Africa. Prior to joining Tietto, Mark was the Managing Director of ASX-listed Vital Metals Limited for 7 years. Thanks, Mark.
Thanks, Aaron. And look, thanks very much, everyone, for taking the time out. Thank you, Diggers and Dealers, for organising this. It's a great opportunity. This is the first time we've been able to present. We've got a really exciting story, and it kind of, as I was sitting there juxtaposing this morning, we hear about the really big guys, and then you go, well, where did they come from? And I guess this is the key, is that we all start out little, and what I'd really like to share with you today is we've got something we think is very, very special and valuable. We're all shareholders in this company, and we're on track, as we say there, to West Africa's next gold mine in a great location in Côte d'Ivoire. What you can see there is a view of the AG high-grade core, and it's shallow, high-grade right at surface, and we think it really shapes up as an excellent open pit opportunity. So I'll walk you through, and hopefully you'll leave wanting to try and find out a little bit more about Tietto, because we're certainly a company that moves very, very quickly. Righto, so there's some forward-looking statements, and as they say, you do need to do your own research. So fast-tracking development of Abujar. Côte d'Ivoire, it's a very, very good destination. We've seen Perseus with Sissingué, now moving into Yaouré. We've got Endeavour as well, so it's an area, and Randgold, latterly Barrick. So it's a country with incredible exploration potential, and that's one of the keys. You need to go where you can find gold, and we think there's lots more to be found here. We're onto something, as you can see, which is fairly significant. 2.2 million ounces right now. We've got a high-grade core of around about 1.4 at 2.1 grams. We've got a resource update, which is imminent. Would love to have been able to share with you, but you need to keep an eye out on the news, because it is coming. And we're also moving into the feasibility stage as well. So we're running through a PFS, and that's expected early next year. And the plan there is to take it through into a DFS next year. So I'll talk about how that's shaping up. As we said, look, a clear pathway for development. We're ideally located near to grid power infrastructure. Côte d'Ivoire has a fantastic road network. It's a very sophisticated economy, and they've had many large-scale gold mines being developed. So it's a very good place to do business. As we talk about it, it's often a case for a junior. We go, well, how can you get this thing to get up and running? And what we show you is our market capitalisation, and also our cash balance. It's something which we believe is very, very achievable. The other aspect that I want to draw your attention to is that we've got an incredible drilling team in-house, and we'll have a very aggressive drilling program continuing. So that's one of the differentiators about Tietto. Sometimes when you end up in the feasibility stage, the exploration stops. Well, not this case. We've got many, many targets to go after there. It's a very target-rich environment, lots and lots of artisanal workings, and we've got an incredible team of drillers that can drill very, very cheaply. So I'll show you how that's all going to work out. In terms of the capital structure, around about 449 million shares out there, so we're sitting around about $250 million market cap. We definitely think there's a lot of upside as you look at some of the peers that have gone ahead of us, people like West African and so forth. We're at that stage, so I think it's commonly a cliche, but we've only really just started. We've only just begun here. In terms of this year has been quite transformational for us, as we've been able to attract institutional specialist gold funds such as 1832, as you can see there. So we're very happy to welcome them on board, and it's going to be a pretty exciting journey. The directors ourselves, we are shareholders. Most recently in our last placement, the directors took up $1 million worth of shares. So we put our hands in our pockets and we're very aligned with our shareholders' interests. In terms of the makeup of the board, you can see there our founder, Dr. Kagan Wong, with our exploration team, Mr. Yaya and Jermaine. And Kagan founded the company in 2010. And he literally bet his house on this, and it's fantastic to be able to work with a great team of people. We've got the right kind of skill set. Kagan's been on the ground since 2010 in Liberia, moving across into Côte d'Ivoire in 2012. Francis Harper, founded with Richard Hyde, West African Resources, was the chairman there for many years before handing on the baton, so he's got experience in finance. Both Paul Kiddo and myself have been managing directors of West African gold explorers, taking them from exploration through into feasibility studies. Han Jing Su worked with Jake Klein at Sino Gold, so a production background. So a very, very good skill set. And obviously we're all shareholders and very, very aligned with ensuring that we create value for our shareholders. Got some very good coverage. We've got most recently been able to pick up research from Paul Howard, and Paul is around and has been on site, so worth catching up with him as well as us to have a chat. So where we are, Côte d'Ivoire, as we say, look, it's a great place to go and explore. Very good exposure to Broome greenstones, very familiar to all of us here that have grown up in WA, just that there's a lot more people on the ground, but all the techniques that work here work over there. One of the key differences compared to some of its neighbours is it's got a very, very good infrastructure, good roads, and importantly for us as we start looking at development opportunities, it's got a very extensive grid network, and power is very cheap. That's something we hear a lot about here in Australia, that opportunity to develop mines and so forth. So the power costs in Côte d'Ivoire are very cheap. They're a net exporter. So the project, we're just sitting there near Daloa, which is the third largest city. So in terms of just zooming in on the project, we've got 3 tenements there, but the part that is really of interest right now in terms of resources is the middle tenement. That holds what we call the AG or Abujar, and importantly that holds this high-grade core. There's this 1.4 million ounces currently at 2.1, and that's what we see as the catalyst for developing a standalone open pit. The area is still very, very unexplored, so it's an area we're going to be busy here for many, many years, growing from that base and exploring along strike. There's around about 70 k's of strike length there. So this just gives you a bit of a snapshot on the core, and what you can see, a bit of a league table on the left, and we're showing those gold gram meters on the right, and that purple area right at surface. It's got high grade right at surface. When you look at the model of over 3 grams or so, so putting it in a nutshell, it's a very attractive open pit proposition. And it's still open at depth. We haven't found the limits yet. We've got down to about 550 metres, and we're going to continue to test deeper until we can find the bottom on it, but haven't found it yet. We are actually outside from that. We've got APG, so we've moved already into a gold camp scale. This is about 5 kilometres away. It has, yes, it's lower grade, but it has a fairly big structure, about 5 k's or so. And unlike AG, this has a blanket of about 40 or 50 metres of oxide. So it does shape up quite attractive, providing low-cost oxide mineralisation. So those 2 areas we've talked about, these are the areas that are coming into the resource model, the AG, the high-grade core, also APG. We've also been working at AG South, just stepping along the structure. That's got some nice quartz veins. And also we've been working what we call GG Link to the north. These areas are all coming into our resource update, which is imminent, so keep an eye out for it. This little slide really shows how quickly we've been moving from IPO listing there in 2018 with 700,000 ounces, delivering last year in November 2.2 million ounces. We also had 1.4 million ounces at 2.1, increased the confidence, and we've got this next resource update, 61,000 metres going into that. So there's a lot of drilling, so keep an eye out. It's going to be a fairly substantial increase. Aside from that, as I said, exploration will continue. We've got a pipeline of prospects to get after here. We're going to be busy for many, many years. Importantly, we can drill this at very, very low cost compared to our peers. So it really allows us to hit things very, very hard without draining the bank balance, and that's very important. How we do it, this just gives you a bit of a snapshot. We've continued to increase our production rates. We're drilling at round about over 8,000 metres currently for about $35 a metre, so it is insanely cheap, but the guys do a fantastic good job. The other aspect I want to talk about is the feasibility study. We believe the resource is getting to what we call the right size for looking at this. As we can see there, we've got already moving through the PFS work. We've got conceptual site layouts, but it's pretty simple. We've got very high gold recoveries, very high CIL, and the actual characteristics of the ore mean that it's very, very soft. So our energy inputs are around about 30% lower than our peers. So it's setting ourselves up to be a very low-cost gold producer. Very simple flow sheet. Infrastructure, as I said, we're very, very close to the 90 kilovolt ring main feeder, so access to grid power. Power costs in Côte d'Ivoire around about 11 cents kilowatt hour, so much cheaper than in Australia. So it puts us in a very good footing, and we don't need to start looking at grid power. We don't need to have generators and so forth, so puts us in a great position there. Permitting and licensing, critically important, and we're moving very quickly to advance those areas. We do anticipate having environmental approval and mining license granted maybe early next year. Just kind of diving down on the metallurgy, because it really is, it's rare to see something like this. Gravity of over 80%, and that CIL takes you to about 98, 99. Doing it at very coarse grind sizes, that's important, so low energy. Gravity, very simple flow sheet. Gravity is the cheapest form of concentration available. So it's setting ourselves up for a very low capex, but also low operating costs. The other aspect I'd like to bring your attention to are those physical characteristics. The rod and ball index is there. So that's a measure of how much energy you need to put into this to grind it. We're around about 30% lower than our peers for fresh material. So when you put it together, low capex, and importantly, very low operating costs. The other aspect is we work and live in our local communities. This is our country manager. We have annual meetings to be able to outline our plans and also work on compensation for damage to crops and so forth. So we do definitely try to be very good citizens. Our geology team are all Ivorians and of very, very high calibre. So the catalyst, what to look forward to? The resource update, it's pending. It's going to land very, very soon. The PFS delivery in Q1, and that'll be a maiden reserve coming out as well. So something to look forward to see how much this is actually going to be worth. Environmental and mining license approvals, that's coming up, and another resource update coming up as well after that. The other aspect, as I said, is that we will continue to drill. So there'll be lots and lots of news flow. We're planning to do 70,000 metres of diamond drilling. So lots to look forward to. And aside from that, we've got a fairly expansive regional program planned. So, it's definitely something to keep your eye out on. And, look, I guess just in summary, it really hits the points, that growing resource, are aggressive. You've seen how quickly we've been able to move, and that's not going to stop. We're very, very well funded. We've got some fantastic shareholders. And we also see this very large-scale open pit opportunity. And we want to follow behind people like West African, Perseus. We're only little just now, but we want to grow this company. And, I think we've got the right management team and the right asset base to do. So I'll end it at that point and come round to booth 60 and come and have a chat to us.
Excellent. Thanks very much, Mark. I think we literally have a minute if there is a question. Otherwise, please join Mark at his booth at some stage. Thanks, Mark.
Thank you.
Right.